Select, of course, the red Terran in the bottom right corner from Team Dignitas. Select's a really cool guy. Like, after meeting him at the Sunday Showdown, super funny. And ever since then, you know, like, we had a really long, in-depth talk about the state of Terran, too. And he has a lot of thoughts about TVT, but we'll talk about that later. For now, let's introduce the top left player, Andre. Why don't you take the honors?
It is. Let me... Fnatic alive. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, Andre actually had a cigarette prepped up so that he can lower his voice about an octave lower.
Fnatic alive. No, I can do the sickest Shang Tsung. I've done it before, but I'll do it for the stream again.
Oh, no, please.
Your soul is mine. Dude, how can you say that's not the sickest Shang Tsung you've ever heard before in your life? I should be a voice actor. Let's go ahead and introduce the bottom right-hand corner.
Man.
This is the red Terran.
You already did. I just said Select from Team Dignitas, and I'm
Whatever.
like, introduce. I was giving a huge thing.
I know.
And the TVT is what I was talking about with Select. And
you know we don't listen to each other. We just do ESP as much as possible.
That's true. Well,
sometimes
we're trying to actually balance everything. We have notes that we take about the players before on like the maps. And, you know, like, for example, Live has, like, an insanely high win rate in TVT, over 70%. And it's just, like, it's just absolutely ludicrous. But TVT, we've talked about it. We've bounced around the ideas. I've personally been struggling this matchup because I've been playing random on the ladder. And I've just been resorting to old builds that people aren't used to seeing. And so, but we've been talking about these older builds coming out, like Marine Tank, one base plays, people going from Banshee, Marine with tanks, kind of, you know, that 1-1-1 style. And Alive's been a big one pioneering that kind of play, especially with his Raven builds.
Well, it's interesting. Like, a lot of build orders that we saw when Blue Flame Hellions were back, you know, they were able to two-shot Marines. A lot of those builds are actually back in circulation because people have been just saying, those builds are garbage because Blue Flame Hellion is garbage. I don't want to do them anymore. And for some reason, like, people just stopped doing them. Marine Tank, as you said, Hellion builds are back a little bit. There are a lot of Banshee different transitions that we've seen, a lot more 1-1-1 heavy builds because people have been going dramatically into the fast expansion era. And I think the fast expansion builds are still very strong. You can always come out ahead, but it can come down to the littlest of micros, the Banshee being able to take out a bunch of Marines and then kill the SCVs, or the Banshee just straight up being denied completely. That micro is one of the main subjects we have to focus on when we go into this build, where Fnatic Alive is doing, looks like Cloak Banshees or some sort of Banshee variation.
Yeah. Now, Alive isn't impenetrable in TVT. He's lost to MMA, you know, at Iron Squid. A lot of people know about that when MMA went on to take the entire tournament. And he's dropped games to people like Thorazane and Rain, if everyone can remember back into the MLG Winter Championships. But at the same time, Select's the one that's also been playing pretty decently too. He's taken games off Korean players like Gumio on FXO. He's beaten Koss in a best-of-5, so he's more than capable of busting out. And Select has very good control, and just like you said, he's been practicing his butt off, so I expect nothing less out of good play. For now, let's do a little bit of commentary on what Select is doing here. Now he's rushing for fast stim. Normally we see some Terrans go for fast combat shields, but what do you think about Select's choice here to go for a really quick stim?
I think what he's trying to do is just make as little turrets as possible. Normally when you go combat shields, you don't have to make turrets because obviously... Wait, what did I just say?
You said they don't have to go for turrets if they go for combat shields.
Oh, because it takes 3 shots and you can really base that. What he's trying to do right here is get his stim up and then just use all of his Marines to just kill the Banshee right out. And so a little bit more of an aggressive defense. He's trying to get a very dramatic advantage in this beginning stage, but you're going to see a very large timing for the Banshee to actually do a little bit more. Combat shields would normally be finished here, but now it has a lot more relevance. So it's just that exchange right there. I guess Select feels a little bit more comfortable dealing with the Banshee with just straight up regular Marines.
Yep, and of course, you know, I like the fact that Alive's already preparing a transition. He's switched off his starport already, starting and trying to expand, but good control thus far. You can see the scan almost picks it off, but...
See, so here, I mean, he is putting up turrets. Why do that when you could go combat shields and you're a lot more effective that way, you know? Go combat shields, and you're able to tank the damage a lot easier rather than doing it this way.
Yeah, you can see the Banshee here from Alive almost dropping. Man, Alive playing with fire. He did end up losing one because of the turret. Managed to pick off the kill against the Banshee at the natural. So Alive, let's see, he picked off some workers. He picked off 7, but SeleCT still has that slight economic advantage because Alive wasn't really able to kill enough workers to gain a significant.
Frodan, I think somewhere along the line I messed up my commentary, and I said, okay, I'm going crazy because I said you get turrets when you get combat. I don't know what I said.
You said you don't have to get turrets when you get combat shields, and then we were talking about him getting fast still.
Okay, you do get turrets when you go combat shields. It's the opposite way around. Okay, so he had it right. I'm going out of my mind. Forget all that commentary that I said in the beginning because it was absolute garbage.
Man. All right, so fresh idea here.
Fresh idea. Let's go.
Now that Alive has Stim in the progress, he's obviously going to be defensive for a while. He's getting siege mode and everything. Does SeleCT have any form of initiative, really, to exploit that? Because Alive's going to be contained Lily. Can SeleCT put on any counter-aggression? Because we know SeleCT is one of those players that loves being everywhere at once with his dropships. Is this any appropriate time for SeleCT, or should he just sit back and try to keep a macro?
Sitting back is not an option at this case, in this stage. You have your upgrades that finish a lot faster than your opponent. Utilize that timing to take map control, make it very hard for your opponent to push out in the middle of the map. You know they went Cloak, you know they went Banshees. Those don't help Marines, not at all. So take that positioning, make sure that your opponent is playing a little bit more defensive, and you can do a number of things in terms of initiative. You can take an expansion, get additional tech, get more units, anything in that factor. It just gives you the ability to make better decisions this way, and your opponent, you know, they're kind of guessing at this point. They don't know where they have to defend. You can see Alive is actually defending all the way back here because he doesn't have Stim. He needs to be careful because if he's caught to a drop that has Stim, it's going to do a ton of damage. He has no choice but to drop back here with these Marines and just defend very harshly.
Yeah, but I guess unfortunately SeleCT didn't take your advice. He actually sat back and tried to go for a third command center, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
He took map control. Taking the Xel'Naga Tower is considered taking map control because you're stopping your opponent from getting any reads. And still you can do a lot of good damage here. Yes, I would love his Marines to be on the opposite side of the board, but he's doing that right now. And it's still well timed because he has +1 over his opponent. Stim just finished up. And now Alive can sort of start something, but he does need a sensor tower over here if he wants to play it safe. Nope, he's going to do a Helen. I don't know. He needs some way to defend against this left-hand side drop in case.
A scan reveals that most of the tanks are in the natural. SeleCT has a big opportunity. The drop from Fnatic Alive is actually outside of the main, so he has less units to defend, and a huge drop from SeleCT has picked the most opportunistic timing. And you can see that massive Stim from SeleCT kind of needs to avoid one of the tanks on the right, but it doesn't matter. He is in the production live. Alive is still going to send his 2 dropships to SeleCT's base, but this is exactly what SeleCT needed.
Yeah, as I was talking about, the window is so small, but he was still able to get there. Alive just did not defend this drop accurately, and now he's going in with his 2 dropships over here. I don't think they'll be able to do enough damage, as there are siege tanks and Marines already there, but in the meantime, everything's getting cleaned up. Additional Marines are dying. The factory's going to go down here. That's a big win for SeleCT since this is double factory production. Alive was planning on doing a very aggressive 2-base push, but that is not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, and Alive, it really can't bust this natural here from SeleCT. SeleCT has to be careful. He's going to lose his 3rd command center if he's not cautious about it. But yeah, back at the natural, you can see a huge Stim from SeleCT. He finally manages to stabilize back at home, though. Alive really has not much left. He lost 2 of his major tech building, and he lost a lot of time. SeleCT goes up in the advantage of upgrades even further, as well as the economy, and now SeleCT can ride a very good advantage. The only thing is that SeleCT doesn't have that large of a SCV count, but with 3 orbital commands, it might not matter.
Well, that is a very common flaw of SeleCT. He is not the best at his macro. He doesn't have constant SCVs, but his micro really shines in all of his matches, and it shows right here in this game. Can he actually get the medevac? Yes, he does! Full of Marines. 8 Marines go down in that 1 medevac over there. So profitable for SeleCT. He has map control. He has economic advantage.
Wow. Yeah.
Almost
and
economic advantage.
This is really significant, too, because Alive, the only thing that he really had in his advantage was faster tech. He had the starport work out way earlier in the factories, the double factories. And Select went for a faster third command center. He went for faster upgrades. So he has all those things in his advantage. And he already sniped the tech buildings, resetting the count. And you can see the siege tank count is now dead even, which means Select has officially tied up all the ends that he was behind.
Yeah.
And so now he has a huge advantage. You can see that he's moving out towards the middle of the map, and Alive has really no business being there whatsoever. Alive just finishing up his third command centers, and at this point, Select, you can even see the supply is 155 to 110.
And it looks like, oh, there is a drop all the way in the back over here. I missed it. Purple's so hard to see sometimes.
I'm looking at the meme-map, I still don't even see it.
I know, I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, Select does lose a little bit here, and this is a good drop here by Alive to pick off whatever he can. But still, like, you can see Select is still pushing out to the 30. He realizes that he has this huge advantage. He can just siege up, and with great tank placement, he can really section off a lot of the units.
Not only that, look at that engineering bay, and the armory is canceled over here. What a huge advantage for Select. He's just going to continue in here. Oh, pick off 2 siege tanks and just run back. Beautiful play by Select. Takes another big advantage. Is there that drop anymore? No, it isn't. I cannot see that. There's the double drop in the main, though. The 2 medevacs that were over there on the left-hand side are finally going to deploy their units. Fnatic Alive's units are going to just stream back across. But let's look at the upgrades. 2-1 against 1-1, so advantage going to Select, but you can see a small little push. Select trying to inch his way forward. He does take out the 4th gas. That is very helpful, but Alive needs to do something and needs to do something fast. He is doing a triple drop, but I don't even know where he can go. At this point, there are just so many units back here for Select, and he's getting his 2-2 very soon.
Select sieging up within the natural of Alive. He's trying to push back the medevacs as fast as he can with his Vikings to try to reduce the vision. Nonetheless, Select in full control. He's making a 4th command center. Everything back at the 3rd is running as planned. You can see Alive now reduced to basically a few more mineral patches. He really can't do anything whatsoever.
Nope.
And this could be the final song here from Alive. If Select can just keep this contained, eventually he's going to be able to do anything. GG. Select takes game number 1 against one of the best TVT players in the world. Wow.
Very impressive.
Very well done.
Select played that really nicely. I think that's one of the toughest parts about going Banshee on a map like Ohana. You don't have a lot of access points.
Yeah,
so
not a lot of dead air space.
Exactly. And transitioning between attacking the natural and then attacking the main is really hard. You're in that little corner, and then Marines can section you off pretty nicely. So that's one of the tough things. And then transitioning out of that, I think map control is super important. On a map like Ohana, push distances are very long. There's a lot of open area. So even if he gets into position, I think there is the capacity for Select to clear up any pushes. But that being said, remember, the key thing was, I think if he put a sensor tower, it disables the drop, the double medevac drop in the main. None of that damage would have happened, and he would be able to move out with his double siege tank production. But at that point, there wasn't really a capacity, and Select was able to take a massive advantage in that early mid-game stage.
Let's take a closer look to one of the most important pushes for Select. Now, the big thing, of course, was getting the position, sniping that siege tank, and immediately forcing the upgrade advantage by taking out the engineering bay. Just like you said, was a huge key to victory. As you can see, Select was able to be everywhere. This is vintage Select. He's just everywhere on the map, really forcing Alive out of position, and no matter what happened, Alive just kept running out of options. His economy was in shambles. His army was disorganized. In the end, just couldn't keep up with, I guess, our foreign Korean. Is that what we can call him?
Yeah, man. our foreign hope. Boom.
Our foreign hope.
There.
Guys, that game was brought to you by Epson, the people who provide projectors for NASL Season 3. Don't go anywhere. Game number 2 between Alive versus Select. Can Select complete the upset and take out one of the division leaders? Find out after this break.